day 35 of 118 days with the Tudors, and today is 1519. And this is the year that Henry Fitzroy, the illegitimate son of Henry VIII, was born. I'm going to start by talking a little bit first about his mother, and then I'll talk a little bit about the son afterwards. His mother was Elizabeth Blount, or Bessie Blount, as she's more often known. She was born in the year 1500, and her family had had ties and connections with Prince Arthur's court when he had been at Ludlow, so they were in a well-connected position to get Bessie in as a maid of honour for Catherine of Aragon, which she became in 1512, so when she's around 12 years old. Now, she seems to have been a really well-educated and well-rounded young woman. She's described by one member of the court as being even more beautiful than Anne Boleyn. She was skilled in music and in dancing, and she owned at least one book of poetry by John Gower. So the assumption is that she had received a decent education. So when she is around 14, so in 1514, she first partners with Henry VIII at a dance, and then goes on to have this affair with Henry, but it's reasonably short-lived. There's a suggestion that it probably ended in 1518, possibly because Catherine of Aragon was pregnant at that time, and the last recorded mention of her at court is in 1518 when she attends Wolsey's party that we talked about yesterday, when she attends the celebrations for the betrothal of the Princess Mary. So she's recorded there then. Her son, Henry Fitzroy, is born in the June of 1519. Henry actually arranges for her to then be married, and she's married quite quickly. She's married in the September. She's married to a man, and again, excuse my pronunciation, I'm probably saying this incorrectly, George Talboys. Now, George is a ward of the crown. His father, he comes from a well established, well-off family. He's a ward of the crown. So his father was declared insane 2 years prior, so in 1517, and he's kind of then been given to Henry to essentially look after. So it's up to Henry who he marries, because, heaven forbid, the boy's own mother have any input there. Henry, it would seem, kind of gives George to Bessie Blount as a reward for his son. So off she goes, and she gets married, and she's married twice in her lifetime, and both times she has 3 daughters, so she ends up having 6 more children, all girls. And Henry continues to be generous to her throughout her life, always making sure she has enough money and sending her presents and that sort of thing. So he seems very grateful for this son that she has given him. Now, as to Henry Fitzroy himself, so as we said, he's born in the June of 1519. Now, he is a valuable commodity. He's not legitimate, but he's still considered to be a valuable asset. And he is given lots and lots of titles very early on, so around the age of 5 or 6. I'm going to read these because there's a lot of them. So just to say sorry as well, Thomas Wolsey was his godfather and oversaw his kind of early care. But then from around the age of 5 or 6, he is made a Knight of the Garter, Earl of Nottingham. He's given a double dukedom, so he's the Duke of Richmond and Somerset. He's also, and I love this one, he's the Lord Admiral of England at 5 years old, which I just love. Just makes me think of a little child in the bath playing with their boats. And then in 1529, so when he's around 10, he's actually summoned to Parliament, and he's treated there as if he's an adult, and spoken to in that manner. I won't go on to talk about his whole life, but just to say that he does sadly die in 1530. 1536. And as I'm sure you're aware, he's not the only person to die in that year who was someone that Henry, at least at some point in his life, loved. You probably know what I'm talking about there. So that's 1519. Henry's illegitimate son, Henry Fitzroy, was born. I will see you tomorrow for 1520, when I think we have another party on our hands. See you then.